Unfortunately, in this world, there are some very bad people, and a lot of the time, they do get caught and justice is served, but very rarely does it happen on live television. Charles Bothuell V was a 12-year-old boy living in Detroit, Michigan with his father, Charles Bothuell IV, and his stepmother, Monique Dillard-Bothuell. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary about the family until June the 14th, 2014, when their son was reported missing.
We chase the trail where the truth might fall, one step closer to the dark. We're seeking answers, digging through the dust. Every secret's a ghost we can trust. Seeking answers where the silence rusts. The truth's a knife with a blood.
According to his father, the boy finished his workout for the day and went to the restroom but never returned, leading to a huge manhunt. The police searched the entire house with cadaver dogs as well as the surrounding area, but found nothing. Charles IV made several appeals to try to locate his son, even getting the FBI involved. But after 11 days, nobody expected what would happen next. On June the 25th, 2014, Charles IV was being interviewed by Nancy Grace on live television trying to find answers about his son's whereabouts. Unbeknownst to him at the time, his home was being searched once again while this interview was airing, and Charles Bothuell V was found alive inside his own basement.
Charlie, we're getting reports that your son has been found in your basement. Sir? Mr. Bothuell, are
what?
you... Yeah, we are getting reports that your son has been found alive in your basement.
What?
Yes, that's what, if you could hand me that wire very quickly. Yeah, we're getting that right now from how could your son be alive in your basement?
Oh shit. I have no idea.
He was hidden in a corner of the room behind several boxes and a 55-gallon drum, which investigators concluded he wouldn't have been able to move on his own, reported by Officer James Craig. I've never seen anything quite like this. We found him barricaded in the basement, behind boxes and a large drum. There's no way he could have erected this makeshift area of concealment. They also discovered bedding, soda bottles, cereal, blood-soaked clothing, and a PVC pipe. They continued, it was like he was living down there. It didn't give off that vibe. It wasn't situated in a way that would lead you to believe that he was being hidden or held captive and tortured and that sort of stuff. What makes this even stranger is that the police were able to confirm what his father was saying.
Sir, did you check your basement?
I checked my basement, the FBI checked my basement, the Detroit police checked my basement, my wife checked my basement, I've been down there several times, we've all been checking.
The home and basement had been searched multiple times, including the very area where he was found, using cadaver dogs. Though Detroit Police Sergeant Michael Wood did admit that it is possible investigators merely didn't see him during their search. Charles IV's interview and reaction has been highly analysed, with some believing that he was completely genuine in not realising that his son was in the house the entire time, including Nancy Grace herself, who said, "I still don't believe the father knew he was in the basement. Why else would he contact the authorities?" While others were convinced that he was just putting on an act. He denied ever abusing his son and often broke down crying in other interviews, saying, "I love my son. I'm glad he's home and he's going to have a great future he deserves to have." His mother, Charles V's grandmother, Pierrette Bothuell, also maintained his innocence. "My son had nothing to do with it. I know my son. I don't feel he had anything to do with this." Charles V was rushed to hospital and was found to have been extremely thin and starved. He was also heavily bruised and had a half-circular scar on his chest. During all of this investigation, the following day Monique was arrested when a gun was found inside the home, violating a previous probation on a misdemeanor gun charge, and she was given a $5,000 bond. During her arrest, Charles IV stated in regards to his wife, "I have something to say, but I can't right now." Her arrest was described as being highly disingenuous. Due to this investigation, the couple also had 2 other young children taken away by Child Protective Services, who were 4 years and 10 months old respectively. But once Charles V was nursed back to perfect health, he was able to tell investigators the full story. According to him, he was kept home from school by his parents and forced to undergo strict exercise routines every single day, which involved 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups and 100 star jumps. He had to curl a 25-pound weight on each arm and 5,000 revolutions on an exercise machine. If he was unable to do this, he was beaten and forced to do it all over again. But many times he would fail as he just couldn't continue through the pain. He claimed that the scar on his chest was a result of his father driving the PVC pipe into him, and that he would often beat him with it as well, which was confirmed by an old scar on his rear end. He admitted to often being too sore to walk or sit after being beaten by the pipe, and was also punched by his stepmother, who told him that she would make him disappear. The boy claimed that on that evening he finished his workout and informed Monique, but she accused him of lying and then forced him into the basement and not to come out no matter what he hears. According to the court documents, Charles V reported Mrs. Dillard-Bothuell's voice was angry. Charles V felt as if he did not have a choice, so he did what he was told. Charles V followed Mrs. Dillard-Bothuell to the basement. She then led Charles V to the back of the basement and gestured to an area along a wall. The boy said that she told him, "There, back there, go." One report is that Charles climbed over the drum and she added the boxes to hide him before going upstairs and telling his father that he had gone missing, claiming to have looked everywhere for him. She reportedly would go down to the basement and tell him, "Shut up, stay quiet and don't say anything no matter what you hear." She gave him no food or drink, and he only managed to survive by waiting for the house to go silent before rushing up to get something to eat and drink. In April 2015, they were both charged with torture and second-degree child abuse. If the torture charge could be proven, they could potentially both be given a life sentence, but these charges were dropped. On January 19, 2016, Charles IV agreed a deal to plead guilty to 4th-degree child abuse in order to remove the charge of second-degree child abuse, admitting to beating his son with a pipe. He was sentenced to 18 months probation and mandatory anger management classes, losing custody and being banned from having any contact with his son. Monique also reportedly accepted a plea deal, but the details aren't made public. Though if she managed to stay out of legal trouble for 6 months, her record would be completely cleared. Charles V is now living back with his biological mother and is doing well. Reported by James Craig, "I've never seen anything quite like this, but the outcome, I couldn't be happier." The circumstances are horrific, but what could drive a parent to do this or allow someone else to do this to their own child? And just how involved was Charles IV in this entire ordeal? Though Charles V is doing well and moving on, I'm sure he and the rest of the world can't help but look back at this tragedy and continue seeking answers.